One thing that I've learned in 2024 is that you should never take your doctor's nutrition advice at face value. And I will soon go into the specifics why I think this is the case, but why am I even saying all of this? And the thing is that, since starting the carnivore diet and since I've actually started to think critically for myself and look into the research and the details, I've started to realize that no matter what you believe in, it could be the carnivore diet, it could be the vegan diet, it could be the standard American diet. If you believe sugar is bad or it's good or whatever you believe, you can always find evidence for it. So it doesn't matter what this study says and what this meta-analysis concluded, because you will find evidence for whatever you believe in. So blindly trusting your doctor is absolutely stupid. It's idiotic. And the big problem with just blindly following your doctor's advice, especially on nutrition, is that the majority of all doctors, they only look at the consensus, at what the research of this particular kind says, and you are most likely not going to have very good results if it hasn't worked for you this far. And you will know that if you're struggling with your health because you'll be following your doctor's advice, it's probably not working for you very well. I struggled with my health for most of my life because I was following my doctor's advice. I was following the food pyramid. What every single person told me was healthy and good for me, I followed that advice, and it was absolutely terrible for me. So thank God that I found a way out, because most people are not that lucky. Most people don't ever find their way out of what actually works for them, because there's a very big difference in what works in some type of study where you're not even sure what is happening in the study and what works for you. There's a very big difference. And my message always is that you should do what works for you. That is the most important thing. I really think that the situation we have today with the health crisis all over the world is really sad, because we are following the advice that hasn't worked this far, and there are so many things that I think should be so obvious not to be true. For example, that cholesterol is somehow bad for you, that saturated fat, that red meat that we humans have been eating for millions of years is bad for us. I think it's so clear that that is not the case, and it's so clear that eating lots of carbs, vegetables, cereals, this is not the way forward, because we have done so more and more, but the health of the world is just suffering even more and more. And but most doctors, they're stuck in their old ways. They still believe all these things because they've not changed. They're not thinking critically about what they're doing, what they're practicing, and this is a major problem. And this is why it's on every one of us as individuals to actually experiment, to actually research and test on ourselves what works for us, because clearly what the majority of the world is doing is not working. It's not working at all. But there is a price you need to pay to do your own research and to do your own experiments and think for yourself, and that is that it takes effort. You can't be lazy with this, because most people, they don't want to go through the effort. They don't want to do these things because it's a lot easier to just say that, oh, I will just follow what my doctor has told me. I will just follow this food pyramid. It seems so easy. It's a nice triangle. It seems so basic. I will just follow that, and then I'll see how it goes. Most people are like this. Most people are lazy naturally. For me, this became painfully clear after a few months of studying what the science actually says, what the carnivore diet is, what about cholesterol, saturated fat. It became so clear when I went on a blood test and I talked with my doctor, who told me that my cholesterol is very high. It's the highest that she's ever seen on a young person like me. And she wanted me to take a statin drug. And for me at that point, I had taken a statin drug before, and she advised me to do it again. And at that point, I asked her, like, why is this so bad? Why is cholesterol so bad? And the only reply she gave me is that, yeah, well, the science and the research says it's so bad. And then I told her that, well, I've looked at the science and I really don't agree with what the science says. And then she told me, very arrogantly, she was a little bit irritated, I noticed. She told me that, listen here, the science says that cholesterol is bad for you. It's time and time again proven, and I've been studying this since 1993. So you should listen to my advice and not have your own opinions. And at that point, I became very disappointed because I already knew what the science actually says. I know that most of the science that she's referring to is absolutely garbage. I know that a statin drug is one of the worst things you can get onto for long-term health. And I knew then and there that she had no idea what she were talking about. I didn't want to start an argument because I know that I will not change her mind on that, because she is so arrogant. She's so stuck in her mindset that she has been studying this for 30 years and she has to be right because that's what she's been educated on. And I honestly think that it's immoral to be an authority figure and be studying something for even 30 years and not question a single thing that you're researching. You're not questioning anything. You're just relying on past knowledge, and you're not at that point doing science. You're not doing anything good for the world. The opposite is true. You are doing more harm than you think. You're essentially giving out just horrible advice to people that trust you and they really can't do any better because that's the only way they know. I still think that the truth will come out someday, and that will be a beautiful day because there's a lot of health experts, a lot of doctors, a lot of nutritionists that have been just following the old advice for so long, and they will have to swallow their ego. It will be the same scenario as 60 years ago when people thought that smoking is good for you and that it somehow increases longevity. And then at some point the truth came out and they realized, oh, what? Smoking is not good for you. It will be the same moment. Trust my words. And if you're currently not believing everything that the mainstream media and the food guidelines tells you to do, and you're actually maybe on the carnivore diet, or you are starting to realize that, red meat is not bad for me, saturated fat is not bad for you, cholesterol is not bad for me. If you are doing these things, you're thinking critically for yourself, you're doing own experiments, good on you. I believe that you are on the right side of history, and within a certain amount of time, it could be 5-10 years, I think that you will look back on this time and be proud of yourself that you just didn't follow the crowd. So what should we do then? Because if we can't trust our doctors, we can't take a look at the studies, we can't take a look at mainstream media and what they're telling us, what should we do then? And I absolutely love this trend of n equals 1. So what does this n of 1 mean? So usually when you have an experiment, you might have 30, 40, 50, or even thousands of people participating in the study, and you have a hypothesis and you're trying to prove is it right or wrong. And then you have you do something, you have some sort of diet you get on, and you see the results and stuff. So n of 1 is basically that you are the one conducting the experiment and you have one participant, and that is you. So you are conducting the experiment on yourself and you're seeing the results. And this is the superior way to get knowledge, because it doesn't matter what the experiment of 50 different people, what their results were when they added some more fiber into their diet. It doesn't matter, because the only thing that matters is how it affects you. So you should take control of your own life and try out, experiment for yourself. What kind of diet do you feel best on? How many meals a day should you have? Should you fast in the morning? Should you eat in the morning? Like, what can you do to optimize sleep? What can you do to optimize how good you feel? And this is the reason why I don't give any nutritional advice. The only thing I tell you are ideas, because I think it's good, it's very valuable to listen to other people, to listen to people with other opinions that you have, and to think critically for yourself, to debate other people, because this way you can find holes in your own thinking and you can get ideas to get inspired from. And this is also the reason why I'm making these videos, because I know that it's so controversial, everything with carnivore diet and going the opposite of what the health guidelines are telling you. And it was the same for me. Like, I would never had started carnivore if I hadn't seen other people online doing it. It would have not crossed my mind to even think that a diet only consisting of red meat and eggs would be good for me. Like, it was impossible. So this is why, listen to a lot of people, but the most important thing you can do is to try it out for yourself. Alright, but that will be it for today. But please, before you go, comment down below, are there some type of recommendation or some mainstream consensus that you think is absolutely garbage and the opposite may be true? Comment down below so other people can learn from it, something that goes against the crowd. But as always, exercise, eat meat, and take care.